checked on the front by the homeowner, but not approved or denied on the right side. Did you figure it out?
Yeah. Is either there's nothing there.
Yep.
What's the date today?
29.
Okay.
There's risk asking me that. The last 2 weeks, I haven't got the date right at all. I have it today, though. I'm pretty confident I've gotten it right so far. I shouldn't say that.
Just in time for the
Yeah.
month to turn.
May's a long month, though. 31 days, I guess, trying to get used to that one.
That's interesting. So signing this one where it was denied, they just mean we approve its denial?
Wow, you gonna take my job?
No,
Don't tell me you don't have Charlie.
something's not quite right here.
Okay,
And that's not anything I changed,
okay.
so maybe I
Well,
forgot.
the last time we used it, the word no was on the screen the entire time, but it did before. N-U-L-L.
One here.
Yep, the whole night, and I checked my phone and it recorded it.
It did?
Yep.
Well, just see if you can get YouTube up here. I came up with something I thought might make it easier.
Okay.
Anyone else use this chair?
Beth will tonight, but
Okay.
you can be Beth for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
So when all else fails, you shut it off.
You know what MRB is? It's not Ontario Review Board. So.
No, it's not. It's a company.
Oh,
Yeah, I've done this several times.
It's all about context, isn't it?
yeah, it is. Too many acronyms.
They've never gotten that far. Maybe it'd ignore me. It likes you better than me. Okay. Now, the meeting starts.
Yeah, I just didn't know.
No, you want this one. This one, right? Okay, now,
Apply.
apply. You have your phone, you can look at YouTube. If you start streaming right now, you should not see anything except that, hey,
Hey,
Benji,
I got your message, I just found them.
you what?
I just listened to my messages finally, so
Finally,
you on-
I was gonna ask, you know, I wanna get on your
I
list,
got you on my list.
or you'll be on my list.
I don't wanna do that.
But you're not gonna be here, he was gonna be on the phone.
No, it was just, I had a procedure on Wednesday and I was under anesthesia, so I'm sure somebody was available for 24 hours.
The way it
so
should.
In case there was any emergency.
Check.
And those back to you.
It's not what I wanted.
Celtics game tonight, it's a short meeting, right?
How'd you get sent out again?
What time did they
Or
start?
maybe it'll be a long game.
I don't remember what time it starts.
Right?
7:30.
Usually 7:30, right?
7:30 or. Maybe we'll make the
Done
fourth
by
quarter.
Selectmen. And that should do it. What is it showing?
Nothing yet.
Frank, before you get too comfy, we revised the agenda on Friday to add a 15-minute non-public first,
Okay.
just so you know. I don't know if you wanna try and grab the seat out there before it gets taken.
You applied
I
it?
did, and then go up to operation, and then start the stream. Now you gotta stop it if you hit it.
Yeah, it should be started.
So if you, I flip back to YouTube and that's what it looks at.
So how many of these people are we swearing in?
This is the neighborhood.
Up to
Nothing has
11.
changed.
We gotta swear the old ones in?
Yeah, they
What's
have
the
to be
matter?
sworn in for their new,
We gotta swear the old
I don't
members in?
know.
that's what I thought. I figured we'd do them
Which
as,
you are.
Live?
after each board, there's 4 different boards
Why
we're
aren't we
looking
sending?
at. We'll just do a group after each board.
We'll just do a group of them.
Yeah.
Just say-
Like after park, do the park. After the planning board, do the planning board. And that way they can leave.
Right,
See
okay,
you
yeah,
live.
yeah, but do them each individually.
These ten?
They can do them all.
Oh, I know
So-
why.
Okay.
I know why.
We will try
Yeah, I
that.
thought I had changed that enough.
And if it doesn't work, do whatever you need to.
Put about 50 in there.
Apply. That's gonna stop it.
Yeah.
It's still,
Is it this one you got a question on?
Yeah, I just didn't understand the
see, it's picking us up.
homeowner on the other side. Check veterans and solar, but on this side, it doesn't show that we're reviewed.
Listens to
Yeah.
it.
So
Okay.
I'm assuming you can only get one at a time.
Yeah.
I just didn't understand. Make assumptions.
Now,
Is that going out over broadcast?
yeah, that's the problem. The audio is still going out.
I think she
So go
removed
back
it
to
because she's
audio.
gonna be using the screen, she being
How
Beth.
to mute that.
So, go to cancel, or go out of there somehow.
I'm assuming you can only get one at
Oh, sorry. So if you go back to YouTube, go to YouTube.
I think she removed it because she's gonna be using the screen, she being Beth.
Do have to stop it. Damn.
Didn't apply that new one.
This does look like a shorter one, actually.
Oh, that's- Sorry
But if
about
you, no, but if you go to YouTube, you can mute it.
Did work. Did work. Okay.
But if you go to the YouTube uptake to YouTube, if you go to, you have to dismiss, scroll down to dismiss that. And then, there's a speaker, hit analytics,
Are you allergic? Like, you're gonna go in?
and then I think there's
I had it last year.
All right.
I think for the speaker,
I'm not sure why it ended up there anyway.
When I ended up on 2
It's
rounds.
always over there.
That's why I let my wife do all the outside work.
No, but it's better that way.
I'm going out in my scuba suit.
Through YouTube, so
Much better.
so close that.
Did you? Yeah.
Problem is I'm allergic to air.
Just all the stuff in the air.
now we'll have to log in again, I guess.
Nope, go back to CG. You go up to CG. You got the path still on
This
there.
is right.
They're all
Okay.
born right-handed. They only
So you
do
gotta
this 'cause
apply.
they come.
I'll take the rest of them.
Oh, sure.
I think still, take a picture. Still picking up, you want to still picture out?
No, I'm gonna have to step and punt here.
Just wait and see, huh? Okay. I like it.
I hate to come in and do this and go out on YouTube, and I thought.
Yeah, 'cause we have a non-public at 6:30.
I
for
thought I'd
15
have it
minutes.
done by then.
Yeah, I'm not gonna sign
Okay. What we're gonna have to do. I apologize.
I know, you're swearing over the air.
All right, I've done it plenty of times.
Okay,
I'm gonna see if Jason's.
He is up there. Bite him in.
Should we get Jason or,
We still got the camera on.
put 500 in here
thank you,
again.
Apply.
he's done,
No, these are.
thank you.
Well, this, I stopped it, so. He's still hearing us, so.
Something doesn't work the way it used to.
Why
Trying
didn't
to
anybody
show
sign
now
this
we're
one?
back just live.
Ask questions on what he had on the backside, and we'll just check off on this side. She wasn't
That's
sure
what we're
if
gonna
we
want.
get all of them or not, so.
Yeah.
I don't wanna make assumptions that you can only get one, I'd rather somebody tell me
So
that,
if I stop
it's
this,
been
because we have
denied.
to go non-public.
Gotcha.
Yes.
So if I go down here and hit stop.
It looks like you're good. Maybe you have to turn
Yeah.
off the switch.
Salem, you wanna turn the switch off?
It won't be non-public.
and I have the info,
Steve Labrie.
Yeah, are you gonna make me do this part with him now?
I'm sorry,
Hey, do I have to do this part with him? I need.
with him, with Steve?
No. Yeah, I gotta do this too tonight, right?
Just for each of the 4,
Yeah, we gotta do the transfer station guy tonight, right?
no,
Oh, no, 'cause that's not a board. It's a long day, so.
it's okay. We'll keep each other straight, hopefully, that's what we're all here for, right?
That's what you get for being gone for 3 days from work. Today was crazy.
It says excellent condition, but it's still circling.
Right on.
There's 4 seats in here.
It's got the old one still on here. I don't know. I can't get it to come up on my phone now. It says excellent condition, so I don't know what to tell you. It's got a green light, but the screen's black.
All right, well, we'll go ahead and get started. Hopefully it's broadcasting. Good evening. I'd like to call the Monday, April 29th, 2024 meeting of the Ware Board of Selectmen to order at 6:57. We did have a non-public beginning at 6:30 where we interviewed a potential DPW employee. I just wanted to let you know that we did start at 6:30 and we're doing the public session now. Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to open it up for public comment.
Hi, Jackie Pratt, Winter Road. I just want to let you know that RSA 674-33-A, when a lot or other division of land or structure thereupon is discovered to be in violation of a physical layout or dimensional requirement imposed by a zoning ordinance enacted pursuant to RSA 674-16, the Zoning Board of Adjustment shall, upon application by and with the burden of proof of the property owner, grant an equitable waiver for the requirement. You, as a board, defied this RSA, which you swore to uphold state and town laws when you were sworn in. Town council cannot make this decision for the zoning board. Please rectify this. Thank you.
Anyone else for public comment?
Raymond Banks. I'm here today on behalf of my father and myself. Greatly appreciate the efforts that you guys have been taking on with the cemetery. Looking to find out how long the bids actually are good for that were put out for those tree removal. I have already been the victim of this by having my windshield taken out by some of those trees on Buzzell Hill Road. I know you guys marked those trees on the cemetery last year, and in good faith, I hope that they come down very soon. Because my dad's coming back pretty soon, and I don't want to have to talk to him and talk to you guys at the same time about this matter. Now, the other articles that I'd like to act on is the transparency of the 24 and 26 articles. What's happening? Does anybody have any clue? I know you talked to council about these matters. When will we know?
I'll respond to that. We have talked to council about 24 and 26, and we are still waiting some answers to follow-up questions from town council. So until we get those, we're not moving forward with any action until we know what those answers are.
Okay,
So-
transparency is the best way to go about this.
We've mentioned that before, that we're waiting on council.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks. Frank Campana, Quaker Street. I want to make it clear with the comment that I'm going to ask. I'm not looking for a response tonight. I'm not trying to blindside any town official by any means, but I know you're going to talk about, you're going to get a report, quarterly report on the budget, and this year, like last year, there are still some vacant positions, and when we voted voted for the town budget, which you folks got the default budget, as typical, there's always wage lines in there. Wage line for people that they make their wage, they make their hourly pay. We pay for insurance for them, the town, large portion of the insurance, pay Social Security, pay unemployment. So there's a large amount of money for one single person for a wage. There are expenses to that. So you have vacant positions, and with those vacant positions, the board is accumulating that wage that is not needed, and the other portions of it. So that can be a large sum of money. And I would hope somewhere sooner rather than later, like I say, I'm not trying to blindside anybody, but that maybe the board could ask the appropriate person to give you a rough dollar amount of the total wages of vacant positions, total money of vacant positions. My view on that is, when I voted for the town budget, default or otherwise, it had a wage line in there, and that wage line, I know you're responsible, you can spend money any way you want, the department can spend any way they want, and look at the bottom line, but those wage lines are specific. And for you folks to use that money that is, to have that available for you folks to use, that because of their vacant positions, that's a plus for you folks, all right? It's not a plus for me as a taxpayer. That money should be accounted for separately, in a separate manner, and whatever is not used, probably by the end of the year will be filled. But still, you've accumulated since March anyway. That money should be set aside and specifically used as a portion to reduce taxes at the end of the year. It's not a free account for you folks, all right? It's a specific account for wages. If you're not going to use it, you know, don't go out and buy ammo with it. Don't go out and buy salt with it. Don't go out and buy, you know, anything else, all right? Because it was voted on for wage line. And it should be specific that if you have a surplus in that, then use that as a portion to reduce my taxes. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else for public comment? The chief, police chief's not here tonight, but we did have a few questions, I think, that maybe you have the answer to regarding the emergency operations and how that fits into the generator.
You asking me?
Yeah, I asked to get the emergency operations completion date from fire.
Yeah, I don't think the chief replied to you
Okay.
on that one.
Okay, all right. So the second thing we had with Chief Moore was the Everett Radio Tower renewal.
You can do that till the end if you want. You can
Okay.
move it to the end.
Okay. All right, so I think that brings us to you, Beth. I'd like to recognize Finance Administrator Beth, I always say it wrong, Rouse? Rouse.
House mouse Rouse.
Okay. That's easy.
There we go. Okay, I wasn't, no. I wasn't quite sure what you wanted tonight, so I just did a small presentation. I'm sorry I wasn't able to come right when the quarter ended, but I had a situation with the computer, so. Let's see, alright, so we'll talk about the first quarter financial statements. I'm sorry if I'm in your way, my cord only reaches so far. So we're gonna go over what was approved, at town meeting, the operating budget, funds that were appropriated to capital reserve accounts, capital improvements. We'll quickly go over the operating budget, show you how I break it down into categories, and then we'll go over a little bit on the 2024 plans that the department heads proposed, but we didn't get because we got a default budget. So the 2024 voter-approved budget, the operating budget was $8,503,000. The voters approved to send $1,150,000 to capital reserve funds and $189,000 to capital improvements. So our total budget for this year is $9,844,448. And this is how it looks. All the baby blue went into the operating budget because they all are tied into wages. The teal color are those capital improvements. And then the dark blue are the funds to the capital reserve funds. So it comes down to $9,844,000. Luckily, we have more than half of that in revenues that we're bringing in. So we're only gonna need to ask the taxpayers for $4,841,000. Plus, we'll need to ask veterans credits and overlay when we come to set the tax rate in the fall. Okay, so in that, 86% of that was our operating budget. 2% went to those capital improvements, and then 12% went to fund the capital reserve funds. Now, when I look at our operating budget, I look into 4 categories: contracts, payroll, non-discretionary items, and then discretionary items. Examples, they're not all here, but examples of contracts are our IT, the assessing contract, long-term debt, which we still have 2 bonds open, the capital area mutual aid compact, and lawn care services. Those are just some examples of the contracts. Payroll, obviously all the wages, payroll taxes, health insurance, life insurance, New Hampshire retirement system contributions. Non-discretionary items, these are items that we need to function. We need general liability insurance, we need workers' comp, we need unemployment, heat and electricity run the buildings, and in order for us to do our jobs, we need software support agreements. And then discretionary items, which are our office, janitorial, general supplies, meetings and seminars, dues, subscription, building maintenance, legal fees. These are all items that can go up and down. So where does that leave us? 63% of our operating budget is payroll. Actually, that's what we do. We provide service. We don't provide any products, we provide service. So payroll is a large portion of our budget. Those discretionary items are 6%. Just non-discretionary items is 20% of our budget, and then the contracts make up the difference of 11%. I'll quickly go over what the department heads proposed, but we did not receive because we got the default budget. The police department, the police chief has repeatedly proposed a life cycle management for his gear and equipment. So body-worn cameras, the tasers, the batteries for tasers, shields, helmets, fast trauma plates. We did not get that because we got the default budget. The highway department, he proposed a software that would track our largest infrastructure, the roads, bridges, culverts, catch basins, signs, guardrails. We did not get that because we got the default budget. Oh, and then the fire department, he proposed that we were going to house the emergency operations center inside the safety complex, which would allow warming shelter, efficient communications between the departments during an emergency, and provide support assistance to the town during an emergency. So what we're doing, we are continuing to work with the department heads to stay within our default budget. The police department is fully staffed. The highway department has hired 4 employees in the last month and a half, and the transfer station is advertising for full-time foreman, and the building, we're advertising for a full-time building inspector and zoning administrator. So what we're forecasting for 2024, vacancies, like Mr. Campana was stating earlier, within the highway department for the first quarter, offset the shortfalls in other departments. Biggest example is our insurance, as the default budget left us with a shortage of over $115,000 within that department. Currently, we are on track for a small surplus of an estimated $32,000. That can change because we have a real problem with the fire rescue department. It's a mandatory coverage department, and they are short-staffed, and we need overtime to cover those vacant shifts. Here we go. What we need help wanted in the fire rescue department, it's essential. They're working with half a staff, it's a 24/7 coverage mandatory. Burnouts, resignations are inevitable. Entering the season where population increases up to 50% because of outdoor activity accidents, water-related incidents, heat-related emergencies, wildfires, tourist-related incidents, and outdoor sporting events. Last year, the board really pushed to make sure the highway department gets fully staffed. We're going into a really busy season for fire and rescue, and we need to make sure they are covered, so we need help. So, that is that for that. I know some other questions that you had by listening to, Board of Selectmen meetings was the funding for the ARPA. So back in 2001, I believe, I had to do a reporting to the United States Department of the Treasury. And all the departments, I talked to all the departments, and we came with a list of what we needed. And this was during COVID, so some of the things are very COVID related. Like the AC splits with the HEPA filters, we managed to get that done. Air purifiers, we did not do that because with the HEPA filters, we didn't feel we needed those. A message board to inform the town where they can go, during all the COVID. There was a request for the tennis court boat ramp. And I think that was, we're working on the boat ramp? Yeah. So this is just, I think I have one printout of this, but I'll give it to you when you guys decide what to do. There were some suggestions made by the department heads. RO systems for the safety complex, highway, transfer station, the library, water bottle filling stations, because obviously at that time, the bubblers you couldn't use them. Some other broadbands, Wi-Fi at the fields, cameras, and the fire department for communication was looking for pagers, which we received that through a warrant article. They were also looking for portables, mobiles. DPW was looking for a 10-wheel dump truck at the time. And then the radio communication systems obviously was on there. And then the library needed windows and shades, which we managed to cover that expense as well. So here's just a list of some things that were thrown around the departments when we said, hey, what can we do with this ARPA money? I know you guys have been talking about it, the surplus of this ARPA money, what are we gonna do with it? These are just some of the things back in 2021 that we brainstormed on. So I can forward that to you. So when you guys get to the completion of the communication project and you see what your surplus is, maybe you can attack some of these projects. Do you guys have any questions for me?
What was the initial amount of ARPA, and how much do we expect we're gonna spend on the police radio at this point?
So in the account we have now, and I can't see the tab. In ARPA, we currently have a balance of $455,289. I can't see my tabs. There we go. One more. The radio tower infrastructure total project, I'm not gonna be able to see the amount, am I? Well, it's gonna come to roughly, because there's 3 unknowns. We have the cement, we have the generators, and then we have the fence and landscaping. So these are the 3 unknowns. But we're looking at that project costing $590,000 for the entire thing. We did have a cruiser warrant article for $30,000. I think it was in 2022, could have been 23. And then the board approved an Armstrong duct vent purchase for $3750 just last year. So after all said and done, looks about 300. But after I get those hard numbers, I'll know better.
300, you expect 300 will be remaining
Yes.
after paying for everything?
Yeah.
And when's it gotta all be spent by?
It has to be obligated by December 31st. It has to be spent by December 31st of '26. But these all have to be obligated. Oh, well, I have this open. This is what I do when we end up in a default budget. I take the default budget, what the department heads proposed, and then I forecast what we're gonna need. A good example would be like, tax collecting. We have 4521 for the software support, 'cause we got a default. I know it's $5,092, so we need to find $571 elsewhere. So what I do is I go through the whole budget and rob Peter to pay Paul, if you will. It's not in the software, it's just a separate spreadsheet that I keep. And I go through every department, and you can see, I know the questions of vacancies was brought earlier. So right now, as we stand, we'll have, I'll just take the whole group. About 132,000 in highway. Now this as of April 1st. So I have a January through December 31st spreadsheet, and then going forward, as these vacancies become no longer vacancies, that amount changes. So I track it per month. As long as the vacancies are there, it goes, we'll have a surplus. When the vacancies start getting filled like we want. So that's why I say, well, right now, after robbing Peter to pay Paul, I come in under $32,000 under budget. So the more days we have vacancies, that number will increase. Other expenditures like the overtime for the fire department will make that number go down. And other things that come up. But as you can see with the default budget, our largest problem that we had to find money is right, no, where'd it go? Trying to do it upside down. Is right here, our insurances. So we only got $536,000 for our insurances, we need $652,589. So we had to find that 115 somewhere. We can't go without paying those insurances. Any questions?
Just clarify, anybody might have been couldn't hear behind you. It's projected if everything were to fill up tomorrow that we'd only have a $32,000
Correct.
in the total town budget.
Correct. Total town budget, we'd have a surplus of 32 if every vacancy was filled tomorrow. But as vacancies continue,
Sure.
we'll have a larger surplus.
Sure.
But again, mandatory department is overtime.
Can you update this, how often? It's
Monthly.
live for you, monthly?
Yep.
Can we get a copy of that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Thanks.
Yep.
Can you, when you update it, can we get a copy?
Sure, I can add it with my monthly financial reports.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Are you gonna cover the audit?
The audit's, I don't think the 23 audit's done yet.
No.
The
Okay.
23 audit's not done. And we discussed the other audit reports. If you go on the financial website, there's from 11 or 13. If you go onto the website, all of the detailed audit reports are,
If you go in finance department, audited financial statements,
they're all there from
they're all there from 2013 through 2022. The auditors will be in-house the last week of May. If there's any specific questions you want me to ask them, please forward them to me. If you want them to come in, they'll be happy to do that as well.
They've started, though. They were here earlier, right?
Yeah, they've
Yeah.
done 2 days in-house, but.
So just as a general process, they come in every year, we fill out questionnaires, they come in and actually look at the books and processes and all those things, and they provide us with a report. That report has information in it about things that we are compliant to and things that maybe are opportunities for improvement, and if there were any non-compliances, that would be in there as well.
Yes.
And what do we do with that when we get it?
We try to We try to, with the deficiencies, we try to, correct them. Most of our deficiencies is segregation of duties. We're just such a small office that a lot of us are wearing more hats than we're supposed to be, for segregation of duties. I wanna say that's our biggest, deficiency that we get written up for. Yeah. If you want, I can send you, I think I gave you
I have
yours,
it,
but I can
yeah,
send the last three.
There was a
deficiencies.
question that came in correspondence about, has the town been audited?
Oh,
And so that's
yes.
what was driving the question.
Yes. Most of the departments are audited. Any of those that, take in funds, the trustees of the trust funds, the clerk, they also walk around to the departments, ask them how they take in money, how do they record it, is it, kept safe? What is the order of how the money's, from when it enters the building till it gets to the bank? What is the order of the process is, how many people sign off?
Okay. I did have an ARPA question, if nobody else has anything. Okay. I did a lot of research knowing that we were gonna have potentially some money to spend, since the police have done a great job of not, spending as much money as they thought and being able to fulfill that project. So what does the no give back to taxes really mean in terms of what we can and can't do?
So when we set the tax rate, you can't use it to offset the tax rate.
Right. So if we have any give back at the end of the year, we have to show where that came from and be able to show that it didn't come from money related to ARPA? Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
That's why we, track it separately.
Okay.
So when you use money, I think I got your question. So if we use money to offset taxes, that's coming from our fund balance?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, that's tracked totally separate than ARPA. ARPA has
So
its
we'll
own
be able
account.
to, we'll be able to
We moved
distinguish
it
that?
right into its own account.
Okay. I was afraid you were gonna tell me that, no, anything we do at the end of the year has to be no
Oh, no,
give back.
no.
Okay,
Whatever's in that account.
okay. All right. Okay. Anything else?
Is there anything you guys want to see at a later time? More information, less information?
Well, I really like the projections that you showed on how you look at it through now and the end of the year, so I think that would be very helpful.
Okay. And I'll send you that expenditure categories, what the department heads wanted 3 years ago when we brainstormed what to spend the ARPA money on. I mean, back then, the rules for how you spent that money was very, very strict. I mean, it all had to be health-related, really. But I think they just got inundated with all these reports that we all finance people have to send, that they're just like, whatever, just spend it, obligate it, So there's really no restrictions on it anymore.
That's why I wanted a sewer and water plow truck.
Yep, sewer and water. That was hard to come up with that one.
Well, I'm wondering, there are things related to environmental remediation. Would that encompass a cap on a landfill? Fix? Could, maybe. I mean, I think it's worth talking about when we get to that point. So, okay. I don't know.
Wheels are
I don't know if
spinning.
that's a stretch.
Yeah. I mean, you can obligate it, but I don't think I can move it into like the landfill capital reserve fund for future use. And if you have a quote, then we can consider that an obligation, but we can't
Well,
move
there
it
are
into
lots
the
of other
capital
things we
reserve
could
fund and
probably
say,
do, yeah.
We're gonna use it someday for that.
Yeah. Yeah,
So although the rules got lesser, that there's still some strings attached.
yeah.
Yeah, other department heads have thoughts of things they may want when it comes.
Yeah, well, I know the, safety complex, both departments there are, working on the water again. Remember, 3 years ago, we jumped through hoops, we
Yeah.
got the water tested, and the vendor that we had said that there's really nothing we could do to prevent those spots on the vehicles.
Yeah,
So they're going through that again right now, but we're trying not to spend good money after bad,
sure.
so we're getting it tested. We don't want just a vendor to come in and say, this is what you need. I'll make sure it'll work this time.
If there's any upgrades that Jay might think he needs on the sewer or anything, you know, it might be a good time for 300,000 left out of it.
Yeah, I think once we get a final, you know, how much those generators are gonna cost, if we might be able to do
Yes.
the generators on grant, we can get a pretty good idea of what we're gonna have, and then we can go out for a
Right.
quick update on things,
It's
because,
almost May, probably be another couple months before that's done, and then time you get quotes.
no, I think we'll know about the generators in the next week or two.
As long as they got something
Yeah.
back then. I know we were always gonna put a riser on the septic tank, just never did.
Weren't you proposing, to change your furnace at the DPW from waste oil to,
Had a grant twice for that, but other boards didn't want it. Yes,
because waste oil is very dirty.
bad. And the storage of the waste oil is,
And the time it takes you guys to filter and all that, yes. Waste oil furnace.
I had that in the back of my mind too.
Yep.
Yeah. No, I agree, we need to wait before we come up with anything, as long as the other couple department heads that haven't had any wanna.
Yeah, the only reason I say maybe wait a week or so
Oh,
is that way
definitely
we
wait,
could,
yeah, yeah.
we
Oh,
can
yeah.
give them, okay, you know, don't
Oh.
give us $1 million projects when we only
Oh,
have
definitely wouldn't want to go
250,000.
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, save them some time,
Yes, yeah.
Are you guys going out to bid on the cement shortly?
shortly,
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you also waiting for the,
I'm waiting for the final
EMP?
plan.
final plans,
That didn't happen yet.
those plans?
shortly.
They always come.
Okay. Any other questions while we have Beth?
No.
Well, thank you for your time this evening.
Nice job as usual.
Thank you, Beth.
Got it in, okay, get it in.
Come in. There's a chair up here. There's a chair up here, Dave. Okay. All right. All right, so our big item this evening is to talk about reappointment of committee members. We've got Cable Committee, Conservation, Parks and Rec, and Planning Board. So I think we'll start with the Cable Committee, if anybody's okay with that. I know I saw Steve. Doug?
Doug, Steve's there, Doug is right there.
Oh.
Second.
Got it. Okay. Whichever one of you wants to come up first.
Go ahead.
Thanks for coming in tonight, and thanks for all you do. How long have you been on the Cable Committee, Doug?
More years than I can count. It's been
2 terms?
at least 2, yeah.
He's
I
been 2
think it's
terms, this will be a
2.
third, so it'd be 6 years
6.
at least.
And what do you like about the Cable Committee, or why do you want to serve?
Why do I want to be on it? Well, maybe it's insanity, but, no, it's something I like to do, and the townspeople seem to like to know what's going on, so I kind of feel be of service to the townspeople.
Do seem to run into issues more frequently than not, perhaps, with the streams and whatnot. Do you have any thoughts on how to improve that this next year, 3 years?
We're trying very hard to make it as simple as possible so that a lot of times Naomi can't be at every meeting. So we want to keep it simple, and sometimes we've maybe oversimplified, and it makes it a little, I came in early tonight, I was gonna try something new, and it didn't work. Some of the equipment, it's brain damaged. Several years ago, back up. With Comcast, we were supposed to have channel 6 and 17. So we were responsible for both. 17 was the school. And we decided they should make the school board meetings live on YouTube. And we bought some equipment, and I'm not real happy with that equipment, but anyway, the school board decided they didn't want anything to do with us. They took Channel 17 off the air, and they got a whole pile of money from COVID, and they spent it all on some really nice video equipment. They probably spent 50 grand on that. As an aside, then they discovered that since they want to do it both in the middle school and the high school, there were too many boxes. They wouldn't even fit in the one car, but that's an aside. So anyway, I took the equipment that we had bought for the school and brought it over here. And we've had some trouble. One unit failed, but it was still in warranty. And they've replaced it, but we didn't have it for a couple of weeks. I probably recall that. It was within the past year. And it seems to be working correctly now.
We've talked about, so we have 30,000 from the most recent Comcast franchise agreement that we signed last year. And we knew that Channel 17 was kind of up for grabs again. We've talked about using that to outfit the room upstairs perhaps, so that 2 meetings could go on simultaneously. Do you think that's achievable?
Well, you wanted to take over Channel 17 or just use the equipment?
Really, we want to be able to have 2 meetings at the same time. Do you think that can be achieved?
Yeah. Well, it wouldn't be difficult to stream them both at the same time. But all the cameras and everything in the school, they were old standard definition cameras. And if you recall, when we used to film the town meeting, it was you could hardly recognize the image because the equipment was so bad. And I told them to put that in the dumpster. You know, it was basically the cameras.
So to upfit upstairs, would it require all new equipment?
But one thing about the room upstairs, the acoustics is horrible. You heard you don't hear any echo. You go into that room, do the same thing, and you'll hear it echo for about 3 seconds. It's horrible. So the audio, you're gonna have to do something to the room to improve the acoustics, or the audio's not gonna be recognizable. And the audio's really more important than the video for a meeting.
Well, are you up for the challenge?
You what?
I say, are you up for the challenge?
Yeah. Yeah, we can do it, if you really feel you need 2 meeting rooms. Some people like to watch all the meetings. I don't know, what if there's 2 going on at the same time and somebody wants to see both? But they will be, of course, stored on YouTube. They can look at it later.
A year ago, somebody suggested that we expand this room, and I'm not sure we'll be able to do that.
I don't know how you do that. I don't think Beth wants to give up her office. So, if that's all.
Anything else for Doug?
No, thank you for everything you've done the last 6 years and signing up again.
Okay.
Steve?
I've been the chairman for the last quite a few years. I went out when the person before Doug was here worked on the cable. He's now gone, so I took over. And we've been trying to keep up the Channel 6 so everybody has a chance in town to view the goings-on. all the meetings and everything. And, I just hope that we can, continue. Any questions?
Yes, do you have anything to add to what Doug said about, potentially expanding coverage?
Not really, because the cable, the whole, when we first put in cable, I was chairman of the committee. Cable came in here, in the, 60s or 70s, one of those years. And, Bill, one of our former selectmen, Bill Herman, was chairman. And I said, Bill, when you do the cable the whole town. Don't cable just sections of it. Cable the whole town, because I said you could have discrimination if you don't so they cabled the whole town. And the fiber optic of it runs up to from Hillsborough down. So this cable has fiber optic. Now, what was your question?
So we'd asked Doug about expanding the coverage potentially upstairs, or, to be able to run 2 meetings at the same time. Just, do you have anything to add to what he said about?
All I can say is good luck.
Yeah, all right.
Anything else for Steve?
No, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Steve.
All set? Thank you.
Are you gonna swear in after a group, or what are you gonna do?
Yeah, a group.
Just
Um,
them two.
Yes, so, question is, Steve, I saw his appointment expired in 2022.
Right.
So if we make a motion, it would be through April 1, 2025? Is that correct?
Form says 26, but yes,
Okay. All right.
because his expired in 23.
It said 22 on the website.
Okay. All right, we can fix this, not a problem.
Okay. So I'll accept a motion to reappoint Steve Flanders to a 3-year term on the Cable Committee. His appointment expired in 2022, so this current appointment would expire on April 1, 2025. Anyone like to move that?
So moved.
Okay. Thank you, Salem. Second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Anyone opposed? Anyone abstain? Okay, great. I'll accept a motion to reappoint Doug Alwine for a 3-year term on the Cable Committee with an appointment expiring April 1, 2027. Anyone like to move that?
So moved.
Okay. Anyone second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Yes?
Yes.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstain? Okay, great. Selectman Knapp, would you like to do the oaths for the Cable Committee? And while you do that, there's a gentleman, I believe it's a gentleman on the website, Les Murray. I don't see us asking for a reappointment for him, so is he now
Just
off the committee?
No, you just appointed him. I'll have to find his date. You guys met with him and appointed him.
Okay,
John Lawton is not gonna come back.
it's John Lawton.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Yes, I'm sorry, I was reading the wrong note. John Lawton, so he's done.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yep. Okay, thank you.
I'm gonna attempt to do all these groups together, so I don't know if it's gonna work out or not. If you guys wanna come same time, we got lots of people. I'll just read one line at a time, and like, say state your name.
You wanna
just give me
come
time
up?
to state your name.
Doug and Steve?
Stand here somewhere. So we'll start out, I, state your name,
I, Doug Alwine,
do solemnly swear and affirm that I will faithfully and impartially
that I will faithfully
discharge and perform
discharge and perform
all the duties incumbent on me as cable committee members
all the duties incumbent upon me as the Cable Committee member
according to the best of my abilities,
according to the best of my abilities,
agreeably to the rules and regulations of this Constitution
of this Constitution
and the laws of the state of New Hampshire.
and the laws of the state of New Hampshire.
So help me God. Thanks, guys. Thank you. Have a good evening, guys.
There's paperwork to sign.
Steve,
Don't leave yet.
Doug and Steve, you can sign these and then.
Need your autograph, in case you're famous for selling.
I just got a text message, it's not working. Even though it says excellent condition. Okay. That's your assignment. Yep. Thank you.
You guys are welcome to hang out, but if you don't want to stay, we understand. Yeah, it's up to you.
You can go home and eat supper if you feel like it.
Yeah. How about the Conservation Commission next? I see 4 members with terms expiring this year. All 4 were seeking reappointments, but to smooth out the membership expirations, I believe we're doing 3 for 3 years and 1 for 1 year. Is that
You've
correct?
got one of your 3 years is not here.
Okay.
He's been under the weather, so you won't have Mark Phillips tonight.
Okay. All right. So I'm not sure if Mike, Ray, or Sherry wants to come up first, but whichever one, we'll start.
I'll go up first.
Okay, thank you very much. How are you?
Good.
Good. How long have you been on the Conservation Commission, Ray?
I think this is my 3rd year.
Why do you want to continue serving?
Well, being an environmental contractor, I take a lot of interest in what goes on different projects in town. So I enjoy reviewing the plans and offering my comments on what may or may not be good or bad things on the plan. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'd like to offer my point of view as a contractor, which sometimes, you know, kind of steers a decision that might not be perfect. I don't know how else to say it, but basically I offer a contractor's point of view to the Conservation Commission, which may have a different point of view sometimes.
Makes sense. Given that business interest, do you ever find yourself in conflict with the interests of the town?
No, we don't sell anything to the town, we haven't. I've never approached the town to sell any of our products to the town. So I don't feel there's much of a conflict at all.
Have you recently read the New Hampshire Municipal Conservation Commission Handbook, specifically the 2023 edition?
No,
Have you completed any training available through the Association of Conservation Commissions?
I don't believe I have. Most of the training sessions I go to is more for stormwater and septic type training. So I didn't, being that we work pretty much 7 days a week, 14 hours a day, I'm pretty selective to what I attend.
And this is kind of a general question. I see that the Conservation Commission has an open space subcommittee. Are you a member of that? No? Okay.
No, I don't even remember talking about it. Have we talked about it, Naomi? I've never talked about it.
It's one that's been out on the website for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Well, it's like everybody else, I mean, thank you, it's, you know, thankless work, most committees and boards, and they're all important to make the wheels go around, and
Yeah.
I think everybody's interest and knowledge is appreciated, and then when you get someone as yourself that has the everyday boots on the ground to bring to the meetings is always a bonus, so, thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate your time, Ray.
All right.
whichever one, I don't care. You guys flip a coin. Hi, Sherry.
Hi, Sherry Burdick.
How long have you been on the Conservation Commission?
years.
6? Why do you want to continue serving?
Well, I know a lot about the town and the parcels that, when they come up, I know where they are. And if we have a parcel that's a couple 300-acre parcel, and then another parcel comes up that adjoins it, that's good to combine that, so you have a place for the animals, the wild animals to run, so they're not compacted into an area where you have a housing development. I don't wanna see Ware to be like Goffstown any sooner than it has to. So that I think the more conservation that we do to, to keep the land, from being, built on and having a ton of houses put up, it's better. Not always, we know we have to have houses built occasionally, but, I prefer to see it left as rural as possible for as long as possible.
Do you have any interests which conflict with best interests of the town?
No.
Okay. And have you read the New Hampshire Municipal Conservation Commission handbook?
Yes, I have,
Okay.
twice.
Okay. And have you done any training in the last
No,
few months?
no.
Year? Okay. All right. Questions for Sherry?
Thanks for wanting to join again.
No, thank you. Appreciate your time. Okay. Mike?
Hello,
Hi.
I'm Mike Camacho.
How are you?
Good, how's it going?
Good. Thanks for coming in tonight. How long have you been on the Conservation Commission, Mike?
I believe I began in 2018.
Wow. So, 6 years?
Yeah, it sounds about right.
Okay. And why do you want to continue serving on the Conservation Commission?
It's just something I enjoy doing. I volunteer for other parts of the town, just something that I think is important to do. Why the Conservation Commission in particular? I just find peace and solace in the woods, and I like to help manage the woods we have here in town.
Okay. Do you have any interests which conflict with what might be in the best interest of the town?
I do not.
Okay. And have you read the New Hampshire Municipal Conservation Commission handbook? I'm probably gonna get that right by the time I leave tonight.
I did a few years ago, and then the 2023 edition I skimmed through but didn't give it a full read over.
Okay. And have you done any training through the Association of Conservation Commissions?
Sporadically, there were some webinars during COVID that I watched, and then DES. I work at DES. Whenever they have some workshops with the Conservation Commission, I'll stop in on those meetings. Most recently, when they made some changes to their wetland rules, they were changing their permit by notification. The Conservation Commission had some interest in that as a whole for the state, so I was a part of those.
Okay. All right. Any questions for Ray? Or, I'm sorry, for Mike?
Thank you.
No? Okay.
Thanks, Mike.
All right. So is Sherry the one-year term?
Yes.
Okay. So I would accept a motion to reappoint Sherry Burdick for a one-year term to the Conservation Commission with an appointment expiring April 1, 2025. Would anyone like to move that?
So moved.
Anyone like to second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor? Yes?
Yes.
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 Anyone opposed? Anyone abstain? Okay. All right. I would accept a motion to reappoint Mike Camacho to a 3-year term on the Conservation Commission with an appointment expiring April 1, 2027. Anyone like to move that?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Yes?
Yes.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstain? Okay. Would entertain a motion to reappoint Ray LeMay for a 3-year term to the Conservation Commission with an appointment expiring April 1, 2027.
So moved.
Okay. Second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstain? Okay. Selectman Knapp, would you like to give the oath of office for 3 Conservation Commission appointments?
Start out with your name right before, and then I'll read this one sentence at a time. So I. Do solemnly swear and affirm. That I will faithfully and impartially. Discharge and perform. All the duties incumbent on me as. Conservation Committee. Commission. According to the best of my abilities. Agreeably to the rules and regulations. Of this Constitution. And the laws of the state of New Hampshire. So, thanks, guys.
You gotta sign.
Oh, you guys gotta sign these.
You're welcome to stay, but we understand if you want to head on out.
I gotta get to bed. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Steve, stay.
Yeah. Okay, next is Park and Rec. So I think we have Dave Lundin and Denise Purington. And they say chivalry's dead. Very nice, thank you.
Denise Purington.
How long have you been on the Parks and Rec
3
Commission?
years.
3 years. Why would you like to continue to serve?
There are probably 3 initiatives that I'd like to see moved before I decide to step down. We're working on updating policies and procedures, bylaws, things that I really feel like haven't been done in a long time. I'd like to see that completed. A strategic plan for both what are the future needs for field usage and tennis courts. I think some of you know I've been working on the revitalization of the tennis courts. We got it resurfaced and it's being used a lot. Hopefully you got the message I sent about John Stark is now using it, so it's good to see that we're working forward with things. And so, again, we need a strategic plan for that, knowing that it's in year 3 of a 5-year life cycle on its surface. And then this year we started a different approach to the senior program. We did the holiday dinner, and they've asked us to look at a summer event at Chase Park. So I'd really like to be part of getting that established so it occurs year after year.
Do you think that would be something you can get this summer, or is that for a future?
I'm hoping
for you?
so, based on what we spent at the holiday meal. I think we can do 2 events every year. The seniors actually asked, I think they prefer a summer event, because
It's easier to get
many
out.
don't drive at night.
Yeah.
And although connecting the seniors with the middle school students was something that was, Salem was there, it was just very rewarding to see them come together, so I'd like to see that continue, and if they do work on transportation, you know, for the seniors, I know that they're looking at some options. I'd like to still see that continue, because I think the students liked it, and I think the seniors liked it. So those are the three goals that I have that I'd like kind of started on, that I'd like to finish, and really think can be finished in the next 3-year term. So that's kind of why.
Do you have any interests or personal conflicts which would not be in the best interest of the town? In the past month, year, have you completed any training available through the New Hampshire Rec and Park Association?
Didn't even know it existed.
Okay. And I believe in the role of anyone from Park, they come in contact with children and elderly. So do we have background checks?
Do I
Current?
personally?
Yeah, have we done background checks?
What's that?
Have we done background checks
For kids?
for anyone that comes in contact with children or elderly, which would pretty much be everyone on the Park Commission potentially?
We rediscovered that I had the same question, because we rediscovered that policy that says all parks volunteers must get a background check.
I'm not opposed to, you want to do, I mean, I volunteer, I do a lot of volunteer work for Christian organizations, and I have to go through
Yeah, it's
background
not,
checks.
it's not an inference anyway, it's just, it
No.
says.
Not
No,
at
I-
all.
no.
We will do it.
Yeah, sorry.
No, I have no problem, though, if that's a policy, that's fine with me, but nobody's ever asked me to.
Okay.
That's part of when we talked about, when I said, you know, I think there's a lot of things, policy, procedurally, bylaws, that just need to get updated, that we've started working on, so that's probably something that should be incorporated.
And that was one of the other questions I had. Are we doing 3-year terms or doing 1-year terms with Park?
I probably should have stated this at the front end. I believe they're both 1 year, and the reason that we're doing that is because the Park Commission doesn't have any bylaws that we know or they know what the terms are. So until they figure that out, and then they come back and say, this is the number on the board, and we're gonna
These people
move
in these
people
slots.
over to 2 years and these over to 3 years, and come back to us and let us push those through at that point as far as the changes
So
to the
they're
terms.
changing the original 3-year term to a 1-year?
Well, that was my question. I don't know. what your
Because I
thought-
know that
No.
there were some questions, because some of the new folks we didn't know.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem, but if you want to make it a 1-year term, we didn't discuss it that way, but.
Well, I don't know. I thought we did discuss it, but maybe we only discussed it for
Have
those
we had
other two.
discussed it for all board members would go to 1-year terms?
Until all the
Okay.
bylaws and everything are put in place.
Fine. I don't recall it that way, but that's fine, too. That's fine.
Does that answer your question?
Yep.
Yeah, there was that ambiguity on what's the number and who has what spot in terms of 1, 2, or 3 years.
Yeah.
That would be up for their board to decide.
Yeah, and then come back to us and we can change appropriately.
That's part of what we're working
Yeah.
on in the bylaws, is to look at how many, do we have alternates? Because I think there's a recommendation of you folks that we look to maybe build an alternate base.
I think that would help you in terms of
Yeah.
ability to get things done. Number of hands, number of minds.
Yep, so I think that's what, part of what we're working on in the bylaws, yeah.
So that's your number one project, get the bylaws together.
Yeah,
and
we
then-
we actually delegated it to one of the members who said that he would take a first pass at it. We pulled the bylaws from the other committees and commissions in town.
Yep.
And then we got, I have been participating in the Southern New Hampshire Parks and Rec group. They forwarded me one of their set of bylaws, so we could look at what other towns have been doing. So that individual is taking the first pass at it. It's on the May agenda as one of the, to get an update.
Yeah, I'm just saying, so next April, we can reset the,
Well, yeah,
Or
I mean,
before.
I think we're hoping,
Yeah.
oh, we do it.
Yeah, we
I
could do it before.
yeah, I think we're hoping, it's not a one-meeting project,
Yeah,
but
it's a
we're
big
hoping
deal.
it's not a one-year project, so, We're gonna get an update in May from that individual, so we'll have a sense of, does he have a draft for us or not?
Any other questions for Denise?
Thank you.
Thank you. David?
Sorry, I was working over this one, so.
People have lives, we get it.
Dave Lundeen, I've been on parks for the last 6 years. And just want to continue helping develop it, and obviously my kids still use some of the parks to play around in, and obviously we know that WAC uses the things, and I'm familiar with all of what they're doing, so.
Do you have any business or personal conflicts which impact your ability to make decisions based on what's in the best interest for the town?
I do want to let it be known that I do have 4 family members who are actually employed through Chase Park. So they were employed kind of after I was on the board. Actually, I think one of them was on before we were actually a member of this. But the last 6 years I've been on, they've been working, and it hasn't been an issue, but just want to make sure that it's known that we do have 4 family members who work for the town through Chase Park. Lisa Grolian is their direct supervisor. I'm not kind of hooked into any of that, other than as a park member walking in and kind of looking at the park and making sure that it's all good.
How would you handle, if somebody came to Parks and Rec, and again, this is not to infer anything, because Chris has been awesome, your kids by all accounts have been awesome down there, but if somebody were to come to park with an issue with one of your family members, how would you handle that?
I would have to excuse myself from that session of the meeting and say, because it's a family member, I would have to excuse myself out of the meeting and let the other members handle that issue. And just like we do on the interviews, anybody who has kids who've worked on it, they've stepped completely out of the meeting and actually gone all the way completely even outside, so that there's no chance of hearing through doors or anything else like that as to what's going on.
Okay. In the recent past, have you completed any training available through the New Hampshire Rec and Park Association?
I didn't even, like Denise, I didn't even know it existed. I am fingerprint cleared and background checked because I work over at the school. So because of having to work over at school, you have to have a background check. So I am cleared through this, cleared to be around the kids because of the school.
Okay. Do you know the last time that was performed? Was it beginning of the school year? You don't know?
I don't know when it expires, but I know
It's current. Okay. Okay. Any other questions for David?
Thanks for rejoining.
You're welcome.
So I guess the question I have is, Denise not yet completing the background check. Do we want to move forward with that appointment this evening?
Yeah, I wrote down what it said.
You can sit down if you want to. Thanks.
So the policy says, all volunteers and employees of the Park and Rec Commission will be required to take a criminal background check prior to being employed or appointed as a volunteer. I think strictly, we'd have to do that first.
Okay, all right. So can we,
So, can I ask a question?
yeah,
So, I mean, are you going to?
would you come up here? Thanks.
Should we do it for all the?
Well, I was just gonna ask that.
Because we're gonna go through this.
Yeah, I was
'cause
gonna ask that.
don't think
Yeah.
anybody is,
I was gonna ask that.
yeah, and how long does that take?
I wouldn't think it takes more than a couple days.
So,
You can actually drive up to Concord. It's done at the state police. It costs you $25. You walk in, 5 minutes later, they give you the.
Yeah, there's a
Okay.
fee to it,
There's a
do we
fee.
have to pay that fee?
usually.
Oh, to get our background checks?
So when we hire someone, we have them do the same thing, and if we
Okay.
hire them, we reimburse them.
Okay.
So where would that money come from?
That's entirely up to you.
This is, yeah, it was like written in the 80s or 90s.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like, we can't ignore it, but we haven't.
Was it written in
It's
their
amended it.
bylaws, or was it one the selectmen written?
It's in that, commissions and things that we discovered. a month or
There's
so
a bunch of
ago.
stuff they were kinda waiting for their bylaws to be done with,
And
so.
I think, and maybe it's because you didn't realize it, but you disappointed
We
two members
disappointed two
without-
others.
That was,
No,
this happened after that.
Yeah, this was in between there. And so the question is, you know, do we bring everybody else in and get them to do their background that's already been appointed and still has current appointments? You know,
Yeah.
I think that's what we need to talk about.
So does that mean I don't go to a meeting until then or do any more work? What does that mean?
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
When is the next meeting?
It's-
Next week?
Yeah,
About 2 weeks.
and we have, it's
2
It's May 14th, and we have a huge agenda of items.
Is there any, I would lean on the chief, see if he can, I mean, I guess you know the answer, it's go to Concord, right? There's
Well,
no-
that's what we've always done, is gone to Concord, but when he stood there for the APHIS machine, if you remember, we were gonna be able to do them in-house for the school, I believe.
Yeah,
But we can
So
check
the
with him.
Just the
yeah.
fingerprints. I don't think that's a complete
Oh,
background
then-
check.
Is it just a background check, or is it half to that?
This is a background check.
So if I'm happy to drive to Concord. If I can get the background check that I've had done for the organization I do disaster relief for, is that acceptable, or do you have to are you wanting one?
I'd have to pull up it references an RSA 41-9-B,
Just for parks,
for anyone that deals with
kids. Okay.
kids or elderly,
Okay.
or enters someone's home. I think that's the way it's written.
Bigger question to go
So are you gonna
along
take-
with that is, what about all Chase Park employees?
I was gonna ask that when you guys got
I
done,
was gonna, I would like, so if she has to do it, are we talking all of our staff?
cause some of them are
And
kids.
some of them are 15 and 16 years old.
Yeah.
You said 41-9B?
Is the only one, I mean, the only one that you.
41 semicolon,
Are
or
there
colon
different
9
levels
dash
of
B.
background checks? I don't know nothing about,
I've never sent a kid for one, for adults, no.
Because they're all, most of them are 17, 18 years old.
Right.
so are you, like for Dave, you'll just get a copy of the one that the school has done? For him, is that what you're,
Yeah, I
That's
believe
what
that's gonna be sufficient, but I don't know that.
that's my question,
yeah.
if I could get the copy of the one, I think I just had one done.
Yeah, you have a current one, I don't see any reason why we couldn't
They
accept
didn't
it.
give me a copy of it, but I could try to get a copy of it.
Well, if you don't have a record, there is no copy, they'll give you waste paper.
The paper just says no, we just did it earlier tonight, there's no, it's got the state letterhead on it, it says no criminal background.
Basically says no information.
That's what the,
That's what the report says, yeah.
right, but the organization I work for isn't in the state of New Hampshire, but they do a background check.
Right.
Or do you need one that comes from the state of New Hampshire?
So
So the
I'm
where
skimming,
P-
and I'm not a lawyer and all
so
that,
the
but it
where
says,
PD cannot do
a
it.
town may request only a state records check, or both a federal and state records check. So I think that it has to at least be New Hampshire.
So
Or,
what
I
are
mean,
you,
it says a
so what are
state.
you asking for?
The federal one will pull up anything that's on the state level.
That would
So it says,
supersede
it
state,
says
I
you
was
have to do,
thinking.
no, it says it doesn't. It says you have to do state or federal and state.
That's Parks and Recs bylaws they wrote up?
No,
No.
No, it's state law, I guess.
No, but that they have to have the background check, or is that state
No,
law?
that's, maybe, cause you were out for a meeting, maybe it was one of those, like, we had I don't remember what it's called, volunteer policy, whatever, just resurface,
Yeah,
and it's, what, 3 or 4, I mean, do you have the whole thing?
yeah.
Yeah, it's like 3 or 4 pages. It reminds me of the lifeguard situation, like, now that we know, we can't just,
So, can the town police do the background check, or you're saying you have to go to the state?
it says, again, I'm skimming, but it says, to obtain a state records check only, the town shall submit a state criminal history record release form to the Division of State Police.
So I go to Concord, I ask for one. If I went tomorrow, would I have it back before the 4th?
Yeah, you wait for it, you have to wait, it's
Oh,
5 minutes. You
so
fill out
I
a
could come
form.
back here next Monday in order to make,
Yeah.
or,
make you miss your meeting?
No, she said May 14.
Yeah, but
Good
I
morning,
can still
do it.
keep doing work, like I have a walkthrough at Chase Park tomorrow with DPW.
Well, that's for her reappointment. She's still in the seat. Till the seat's reappointed, she can stay in the seat.
I believe that's accurate.
I just don't, I wanna
Yeah,
keep working
fine.
on
Alright,
that.
yeah, we don't wanna hold you up.
I mean, the water's coming up at the lake, and we got stuff we gotta get done before
Right.
it comes up all the way.
Yeah, and just to read the whole paragraph about this, so you know, employees and/or volunteers who work with or around children or elderly persons, enter the homes of citizens, or collect and manage money will be subject to a criminal background check per RSA 41:9-B. All volunteers and employees of Park and Recreation Commission will be required to take a criminal background check prior to being employed or appointed as a volunteer.
Which we're about to, the hiring at Chase Park hasn't actually happened yet.
Right, but that's on schedule for next week,
And
or
to clarify,
tentatively at least, yeah.
the RSA says a town may require, and
This
the
is-
town has required. So,
So you're reading an RSA and you're reading a town.
I'm reading the
refers
town,
to
which
those.
points to the RSA.
All right,
Well, that's what my question was about the town. Was that town vote selectmen, or was that their bylaw?
This
don't
is
have
a
any
town
bylaws.
policy.
we don't have any bylaws right now. That's why we're working on it.
I thought there might been a few, that's what my point was gonna get
Yeah.
at, is if you're working on them, I was gonna say, well,
Yeah.
I don't wanna hold nothing up, 'cause of busy season, but you're doing work now, can we just, you guys go home and come back, try next week, and everything will stay just fine the way
Yeah,
it is?
that's fine with me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
'cause they can
I think
work
we
a
also
week,
need to
right?
discuss whether or not we want the rest of the board that's already been appointed to come in and do this, or if we wanna just wait till their next appointment now that we know the requirement.
and all the Chase Park employees.
Right, that's a second issue.
I
So-
personally think it's hard to know that that's a requirement, and you've got a whole year where you have people with no background checks. I mean, I think we should be consistent.
Yeah. I do too.
But, so, where in Concord do?
State police.
So before you run to Concord, I'm just trying to get an answer out of the chief, that's all. He said he would look it up tomorrow, so I have both of your numbers.
Just give me a call, yeah.
Yep.
I'll be up at the lake in the morning with Jason, so cell phones don't work up there, but
Okay.
just let me know. If I can get it, I'll come back next week, but I'd like to,
It is easy to get, I just.
Yeah, it is.
I just went through it a couple months ago,
Okay.
5 minutes.
I can let you guys know if we can do it locally or not.
Okay. So what do we wanna do with the rest of the commission? Ask them to come back in with it, or wait till their next appointment?
Well, I'd like to ask them if they'd come back in with it. I mean, we ought to be consistent on it.
Yeah, and really that would also allow us to do 1 years for the people that aren't on 1 years right now. Which is, I guess that's just Pam.
Yeah. Yeah, so,
I don't know if we
Pam
can make
probably has
them
a
or not.
current
I don't know how that'll work.
she's bonded, she probably has a current one.
My bigger question is what,
She's
is what
bonded
he
for a
asked.
job.
Right. But
But
I'm
not
sure
for
that
the
they have to
volunteer
do a
part.
background check for that.
My bigger question is what he has, what the minors have to get
Yeah.
one or can get one.
Yeah. And then, how do we address all the employees for the next week and two of the interviews?
is there an age limit?
That's
It
what I
doesn't
wanna
say.
know. Can minors even get one, or, I don't know.
Well, there's a parental form in part of the package to work for us. There's a parental form signed by the parent, but,
Naomi, would the chief know if there's an age?
yeah, he said we can talk tomorrow.
Okay, all right. Maybe he could guide us as to what age.
Yeah.
We have a lot of 14 and 15.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
The other, we've got a tiny carve out here. It says the town may extend a conditional offer of employment to a candidate with a final offer of employment subject to a successfully completed criminal history records check. So
I
we're
was
doing
gonna suggest
hiring,
that.
Okay.
we could do conditionals, and then that buys us that time between the hiring next week and their start date.
Yep. I think we've
Okay.
actually done that before, so. Well, sorry, that seems like
That's
it's
a
a
good-
pain in the butt for
good
you
backup.
guys, so.
Okay. All right.
Definitely make them first next week on the agenda, I guess.
Does that work
So the
for
plan
volunteers
would
as well?
be the chief will get information tomorrow, and then if we get them done, we'll be back next week.
Yeah, definitely back.
Yeah.
Conditional, like, I
Yeah,
don't think it buys us anything because they want it started. like, the employees don't start,
It's too bad you didn't know that ahead of time, I could've gone and
like, the volunteers
run in there today and got it.
You know, sorry about
wouldn't
that.
want to start, I don't think.
Didn't need to have a sidebar here.
Anything
Yeah, I thought
else?
the answer to that'd be easier.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, right, they'll just, they can see what chief says tomorrow, and sounds hopefully they gotta get one, which is easy, it's just too bad. I never read it, I guess, too bad we didn't convey that to them before they came tonight.
So I do wanna just point out, right, just like Park has been working on its bylaws and everything, the selectmen have been working on trying to get all of their paperwork and everything in order too. And we're just sort of,
It's a never-ending
Running into
process, as you know.
I can, it just,
Large.
yeah, if you just let us know tomorrow and then come back on Monday,
Okay. Great.
unless I don't pass it.
I doubt that's the case. All right. Anything else before we move on to planning board?
Oh, and I'd almost think the other gentleman's there, he has a current one employed by the town. That
Yeah,
would
he just needs to
suffice
bring it
my
to us.
opinion. I don't know.
He's got one at the school.
School. Yeah, he said he'd bring it.
I didn't know if he was under the impression he had to go get another one or not.
I
know if we
don't
made that
think so.
clear or not.
Yeah.
I wanted to bring this up at the beginning, but while everybody was here, so just before I forget, if we could send out that 91A training to everybody, because I mean, these are all reappointments, but I think it's good. I kind of think we should do that annually anyway.
Yeah.
Just remind people, you know, when it's okay to send emails, text messages, whatnot.
Okay. Ready for planning board? Okay. All right, Frank and Ray? Which one of you like to go first? Okay.
So step on up.
So Frank, I have you down, I believe, for a 3-year appointment for a full member, and Ray, are you still going for an alternate? Okay, okay, and also for 3 years. Okay, good.
Good
Got that
evening.
right. Good evening. Thanks for hanging in with us.
Well, this is the first. All the years I've been on the board.
We're trying to do things right,
Okay.
and by right, I mean what the processes tell us,
Right, well, it's
and
impressive.
change them when they don't make sense.
I've been on the board for the better part of the last 50 years. Started in the mid to late 70s. And then I was on the school board for 9 years. I was on the finance committee for a year. And I served on a couple other committees, but I may have been on the planning board at the time. One was the right to farm legislation that we have, and the master plan. So having been there so long, you must think I must really enjoy it, and I do.
Good.
I think that Ware is probably the crown jewel of Hillsborough County. And my goal is to keep it that way as long as possible. So I don't know, everybody doesn't agree with that, but that's the way life goes. There's a lot of pressure on Ware, it has been, comes and goes, but now it's coming, to adopt regulations for workforce housing, affordable housing, all these things that I won't say they weren't needed, but I would say that they're going to impact everybody that lives in this town now. And I'm not sure what form they'll take. The state has got involved. The good news is, I call it good news, is we don't have a public water supply. Well, we do have a small one, I'm sorry, in Ware Center, but it wouldn't serve a residential use. And we don't have a large septic disposal system. It's possible they could make the Ware Reservoir our water supply, and they could build a septic system down below the dam, and every time it overflows, it just goes in a river, because that's exactly the way they operate. Or many of them do. So, I appreciate the opportunity to serve again, and questions?
I've been asking everyone this evening, do you have any business or personal conflicts which prevent you from acting in the best interest of the town?
Geez, I wouldn't think so. I would say no. Well, I own the bus depot. Was that a conflict? The school bus depot?
I wouldn't think so.
If we're talking about anything related to that land, it would be, or bus routes.
Yeah, not much has come up.
And if those two did come up or anything related to that, how would you handle it?
Well, it's pretty simple, just step down. I mean, I've had to step down on occasions over the years for various reasons. There's no magic to it.
The New Hampshire Office of Planning and Development has a certification test. Have you completed that?
Never heard of it.
Never heard of it? Would you be willing to do it?
Probably should. When do I want to do it?
Would you be willing to?
Oh, well, I don't have much gray matter left, but I might get through it.
So is that a yes?
That's a yes.
Okay. I can send you a link if that helps.
What is that again now?
It was at New Hampshire Office of Planning and Development. They have a certification training and then a test
You know,
related
I've-
to planning boards.
I've taken it a couple times, actually. Now I didn't realize it was mandatory. Maybe it's not.
I don't
have
think it
a-
is mandatory, no.
It isn't, no.
No.
Well, I have actually attended at least two of those. I'm not sure if I did more than that or not.
Okay. Any other questions for Frank?
Well, just appreciate it. A long time to be a volunteer.
Yeah.
Well, I like Ware. I think Ware is a great place. You know, it isn't just the planning board that's involved in keeping, I think Ware has a lot to offer. And probably the select board has maybe more to do with it than the planning board does. And there are other boards that get involved occasionally too.
Mm-hmm.
And it's gonna be tough to keep it like it is, with a lot of open space and good neighbors, and I know there's little problems now and again, but nothing compared to, you know, somebody was asking me about my philosophy on this. They said, well, would you take your family for a stroll around Manchester this evening? Well, the answer is no, because you probably wouldn't make it. And that's not an exaggeration. I mean, and Hillsborough County has both Nashua and Manchester.
Mm-hmm.
With the problems that they have down there. So we're kind of tucked back in the northern section of it, kind of forgotten at times, but that works well. So anyway, here we go.
Okay, good.
Thanks, Frank.
Thank you, Frank.
Okay, I can sit down now?
Yes, please.
Thank you.
Okay. Ray? Did you hurt yourself?
I have a little bit of necrosis in my hip.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sitting too long? That
Yeah,
help?
if I
Not-
sit
not
for a
good?
while, it gets cranky.
Yeah.
Ray Menard, I've been on the planning board as an alternate now for 3 years, I think it is. It's educational for me. I don't think I have any conflicts that would mess with my personal life unless they bar fishing.
Okay. Have you taken any of the training that's offered by the New Hampshire Office of Planning and Development
I have sat on several of their seminars
seminars?
that have occurred when it didn't conflict with the work schedule.
Would you be willing to take their online training and do the test?
Probably in 261 days,
Is that
5
your
hours. 7
retirement?
minutes. Yeah.
I don't know what that countdown's about.
Yeah.
No? Yeah.
Yeah. Just-
271, huh? Congratulations.
261.
261.
Yeah, but who's counting?
Good for you.
Yeah, it's.
So what does that equate to, the end of the year?
January.
January?
Yeah,
Good
I'll
for
make
you.
my 66 in 8 months, so.
Good.
Other than that, time is pretty crunched.
Is that why, I suppose, because you're doing an alternate right now, are
Yes.
you looking to eventually join, as a full voting member, or are you happy where you are? Will retirement determine that?
Well, retirement will dictate a lot of that. I'm actually president of the Squam River Landing Boat Slip Condo Association. I do a sideline of, I maintain several security systems for some private organizations, camera systems and stuff like that. Plus, I do cybersecurity for a major corporation that keeps me very busy. So the alternate role works well now. After 261 days, we'll see if the actual 261 days actually works out.
They're gonna try and keep you?
I won't stay there, but there's several other organizations that are reaching out and say dangling the carrot.
It's good to be wanted.
Well, it's a fun job, right, and which is why I like the planning board too, right? I'm very into the high tech, but when you finish at the end of the day, there's nothing there, right? And the planning board, I'm not the smartest in that particular area. It's very educational, working with guys like Frank and stuff, and several of the other board members that are way smarter on the, septic systems and the rules and stuff, but I'm the guy that can ask the dumb questions.
Sometimes those are very enlightening.
Exactly.
Okay. All right.
I'm smart enough to ask the dumb questions too.
Or I'm dumb enough to ask them.
Anything else?
Well, appreciate you carving out time to volunteer.
It is interesting, and I agree with Frank. I and my wife moved here 2015, I think it is, from an overseas assignment, and I'm happy we found where. I think it is a diamond in the rough, and I just as soon keep it more rough than diamond.
So you have a nice place set out for where the next Walmart's gonna come into town?
Well, it's interesting, because, when I sit here, and actually Naomi kind of enticed me to do the board 3 or 4 years ago when I and my wife were here, and, they were talking about some problem with somebody living in a trailer or whatever, and I was like, do they really have that problem? Right. So some of the problems and issues that come up are actually really interesting, and you sit back and you go, really? Here and where? Right? So, we just as a side note, we up in Ashland, the selectmen up there were trying to do one of these waste to energy, where they were gonna put it like right on the Pemmy River and stuff, and, who's gonna ruin the Lakes District with a waste to energy, bring in everybody's garbage and burn it, right? So, I would fight tooth and nail to keep anything like that out of where Walmart kind of falls in that category.
Anything else? Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Ray.
Okay, I'll accept a motion to reappoint Frank Bolton to a 3-year term on the planning board with the appointment expiring April 1, 2027.
So moved.
Okay, second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, yes?
Yes.
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 Anyone opposed? Anyone abstain? Okay. I'll accept a motion to reappoint Ray Menard as an alternate to a 3-year term on the planning board with the appointment expiring April 1, 2027. Anyone like to move that?
So moved.
And second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say yes. Yes?
Yes.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstain? Okay. Selectman Knapp, would you like to deliver the oaths for the planning department, please? Planning board, not department, planning board.
All right, guys, I state your name. Michael, do solemnly swear and affirm that I will faithfully and impartially discharge and perform all the duties incumbent on me as planning board member. All the duties incumbent on me as planning board member. my abilities,
according to the best of my abilities,
agreeably to the rules and regulations
agreeably to the rules and regulations
of this Constitution
of this Constitution
and the laws of the state of New Hampshire.
and the laws of the state of New Hampshire.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Thanks, guys. Have a good evening.
All right,
Thank you very much for coming in.
Frank, Chuck. Line.
While they're finishing up the signing over there, I'll remind everyone that we're still looking for volunteers. We have other spots still open and some boards, committees, commissions that don't actually have any members at all. So if you're interested in volunteering, please reach out. Okay. We'll go ahead and start the sugar and spice discussion, or do you want to wait for Benji?
Hang on 1 second, I'm just trying to, I gotta pull out ones that you didn't do,
Okay.
because you guys have to sign all these now.
Yeah.
I kept them together, but you guys signed the bottom lines, I filled out the rest.
Okay.
I pulled the Mark Phillips, and I pulled Denise and Dave's.
Okay, thank you.
The ZBA, as you know, is gonna be on the 13th after their meeting. If you wanna, just wait a second.
Yeah.
Good
Have a
night.
good night.
Evening.
Good night.
Night.
I passed down the things that you swore them all in.
I don't think so. Thanks for coming. Hope you feel better.
Thank you. I guess just, I'll say, yeah, I wanted to give everybody the respect they deserve, but I covered in poison ivy, so I'm leaving. It hurts. I gotta go.
You didn't touch papers after, did you?
No, he hasn't signed
It started
anything.
a few days ago, so
Okay.
it's getting oil or anything, but
All right.
not doing it.
No, he hasn't
Alright.
signed any, touched any of the papers. And if we have some wipes, we'll wipe down the seat and stuff when he's, before we go.
I have a bunch of wipes upstairs, but I didn't bring them down. I didn't know.
Oh. It's miserable. I had it for almost a month last summer.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All the years cutting brush on the sides of the roads, and then just, what you had in the summertime was blisters between your fingers. That green brake clean works pretty good if you bust it open and spray.
Oh my gosh. I would need a sock in my mouth. Oof.
I'll take them when you're done.
Oh,
Yeah. They're coming back at you.
I'll sell it.
Thank you. All right, so I know it was late this afternoon. I sent you over the, Sugar and Spice, got the insurance binder moved to 500,000. I did have a conversation and asked her if it was gonna make things short, and she said she needs more teachers to get more students, but, it didn't appear that it was going to set them back. But
Okay.
if it does, I invited her back to
Okay.
let us know.
That
So
sounds
what
fair.
I did do is I typed a new clean, I took the word draft off the middle. I updated it to 24 to 27. I left this alone because they did do the $500,000.
Mhm.
And then the one thing, that I changed was the lessee shall provide the lessor with a copy of the financial aid report annually to confirm nonprofit status versus a monthly expense or a monthly financial report.
Okay. I would think that it's probably not gonna be called a financial aid, but just the nonprofit status is the major thing that we're looking for there.
Yeah, it says to
Okay.
confirm nonprofit status.
Okay.
So I don't know, technically, are you waiting for them to sign, or are you gonna sign it so I can
No,
get
we
them
can
over
sign
there?
it first. So I think,
I guess-
I'd like to, make a motion to enter a 3-year lease agreement with Sugar and Spice Preschool for the property described as the shop building at 8 High Street for the period of through December 31, is that 2027?
Actually, I did day to day. I did April 29th, 2024 to April 29th, 2027.
Okay. For the period through April 29th, 2027. And authorize Chairman Matthews to sign the agreement.
Actually, there's a spot for all of you.
All of us, okay. Well, then strike that.
Okay.
Good. Would anyone like to second that?
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Okay. Hearing none, everyone, in agreement, say yes, or yay, yes. Anyone opposed? Anyone abstain? So since, Salem Selectman Bloom left, that's, 4. Okay. Thank you for running that to ground.
Do you wanna go back up and do the Hopkin and Everett Tower lease?
Yep.
You guys had it last week?
Yeah, this is the just-in-case radio towers.
Yeah.
So the tower's there, we're leasing.
Yeah. This won't be needed if the coverage works on the new tower that's being put up whenever that happens. But instead of going through the hurdles again, we thought we would just continue and renew it for the fact that it's easier now to renew it than to start from scratch again.
Yeah. So there is equipment on that site now.
There is for highway, it says in here, for the police, fire, and DPW.
Right, but I just wanted to verify it wasn't just a tract of land that we have just in case. It actually has equipment on it now, correct?
That's my understanding.
Okay. All right. So did everybody get a chance to read through the agreement?
Pretty straightforward.
It's very straightforward. I've never seen something so straightforward.
The Army Corps of Engineer.
Yeah. Wow.
Now, it did put my name on it, so.
Yeah, that's fine. So if we don't have to discuss anything, I'll go ahead and make a motion to authorize the town administrator, Naomi Bolton, to sign the supplemental agreement number 4 to license number DACW 33-3-09-107. This will grant the town of Ware continued use on a portion of the Hopkinton Everett Lake project, specifically New Hampshire Track Number 101, for the installation, maintenance, use, and repair of fire, police, public works communication tower of not over 30 feet in height, and electric service to the tower through August 31, 2029.
Second?
Thank you, James. Any further discussion? All in favor say yes or aye.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, anyone opposed? Anyone abstain? Okay. Sign away, Naomi.
Yep.
think that brings us to manifests.
Has everything got signatures on it, do you know? Does everything have enough signatures, do you know?
Yeah, there's at least 3 or 4.
Okay. Okay, just wanna make sure.
I know Salem didn't sign anything tonight, because he didn't want to touch the paper, but
Gotcha.
everybody else did.
Thank you.
To order the treasurer, I'd like to move to order the treasurer to sign the payroll and accounts payable checks dated May 2nd, 2024, as included in the following manifest. Payroll, $77,934.64. Accounts payable, $28,673.52. John Stark accounts payable, $250,000. And Ware School accounts payable, $300,000. For a total of $656,608.16. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Pratt. Any further discussion? Any discussion at all? Okay. All those in favor say yes or aye?
I say yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay, anyone opposed? Anyone abstain? Okay. Okay, minutes from April 15.
You do not have the 22nd.
Yeah, I didn't think I saw them. Let us know when you're ready.
What's that?
Let us know when you're ready.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Dave has a list.
I have a few things. Line 24, where it says ask, should be comment.
Comment?
Yes.
Okay.
55, I think we should add on, but got no response. Sherry had called
Okay.
the 2 other bidders.
No response, yeah.
Line 79, Christie's name is spelt wrong. It's K-R-I-S-T, no I.
Okay.
Then I got line 20, in between said and he should be that as why. I have no idea what the context was.
Line, what number was that?
120.
120. The line between,
Between said and he, should say that is why.
oh,
While you're there, I had 121.
yeah,
Add once retired after being limited to 25 hours per week.
once
Once
retired.
retired or after retired.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I got on line 209. I think, I don't know, must be in between property and happen, should say did not. I think that's what I meant. If that makes sense, if not, I'll open it up.
The Biden property,
Yeah, did not happen, the opening
the
of the,
opening did not happen, you're right. Mhm.
that's all I have.
James, anything?
Yeah, on 186, Beaver says where the town went from where.nh.gov to wherenh.gov. I think that's reversed, isn't it?
No, we used
No.
to be where.nh.gov,
Oh,
we
it-
converted to where NH, we took out the first dot.
Okay. The only other issue or question I had, like 209, we're talking about the hayfields lease. Is it one hayfield or is it multiple fields?
I think we've been referring to it in the singular.
Hayfield.
6-1 after, and I think there's one
Yeah.
field of road that goes through
Yeah,
the
there's a
middle.
road between it, but I think we
But
refer
it's
to
one
it as
field, right.
one field.
And then on line 223, where they did their walkthroughs on Sunday of the fields. I'm not
Yep.
sure if that should be, I mean, I know they did multiple, is it just one walkthrough or was,
Walks through, walkthroughs.
I'm not sure. It just didn't seem,
How about they did multiple walks? Is it with an S, THROUGS? Okay,
So what are we
Thank
gonna do?
walkthroughs.
So leave it alone.
Leave it alone, okay. Okay.
Okay. All right,
That's it.
back up to 34. I think it says Helen, it should be Helene. And 142, if we could change indefinite to be determined. It's not indefinitely that we're gonna not start him, it's once we get a start date, we'll start him.
Okay, so take salary of 73.
Start
with a
date
start-
indefinite, change that to be determined.
Okay.
And 166, after the policy's in place, we discussed other domino actions required to get the start date. So I don't know, if you just wanna add other domino actions required to get the start date.
On 166?
Yeah, probably will wrap around there.
Okay, after it says Chairman Matthews said not until they have the policies in place,
Yeah, and other domino actions required to get the start date.
like domino,
Actions.
okay.
Okay. Any other changes? Okay. I'd like to make a motion to accept the minutes of April 15th, 2024 as amended this evening. Second?
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor say yes or aye?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstain? Okay, passes. All right. Before you do the administrator's report, can we do Stephen Labrie hire?
Sure. You have the information, or do you
I
need?
do. Check's back here, though. I'll entertain a motion to hire Stephen Labrie as transfer station foreman at a rate of $24 an hour, moving to $25 an hour after probation period successfully completes, with a start date of April 30th, 2024. Would anyone like to move that?
So moved.
Thank you. Anyone second?
Second.
Okay, any further discussion or any discussion?
Do we have a probationary period set, the amount of time for that?
Usually
This-
6 months.
The standard in the personnel policy, I believe, is 6 months. Okay. Any other discussion? All in favor say yes or aye? Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstain?
Who seconded, sorry?
David Pratt did. James Drury was first.
Okay.
Okay, so that passes 4-0-0.
And before I get started, I have, for your signing, we have an amended cemetery deed. They purchased a two-person lot, but you only need a one-person lot if you're both gonna be cremated, so I had to make that change. So there's one here for amended, it says on the top. And then there's, bless you, there's two more that we have sold in the meantime, so it just requires signatures. And then they go to be recorded after I get Maureen to sign the back.
Okay.
Just didn't wanna forget those.
We don't need motions or anything on
Nope.
those? Okay.
I'm writing everything down because we are not on YouTube.
Okay.
I'm gonna try to take it from the cable in the morning and put it up on YouTube, so. I'm just trying to make it easier. All right,
Thank you.
let me just wait for you guys, so. I know if it's like me, when you guys start talking, I sign whatever you're talking about.
Yeah.
Sign my name as somebody else. Fine. there'll also be a refund going back to the person. Thank you. I'll notarize it after. So the sugar and spice lease we've completed, finally. Building permits, I sent those out late. I apologize. They came to me today. They went out showing, you know, what's been done. This week, just to let you know, there won't be any inspections because of Jack.
Yeah, I'm very sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
I know it was expected, but it still sucks.
No, and I want to thank the town calling today to make changes that were very supportive, other than a couple of them, but
Oh, glad to hear that.
we're working through that, but we also still only have one.
One applicant.
So,
Do you believe that applicant's qualified, or have you looked?
I have to check around, just because some things I've heard. I guess I will just leave that comment for now.
How about the other one?
The
that-
one that we've tried 2 or 3 times, dropped off an application, but no cover letter or resume, we've tried and emailed him and called twice, and he hasn't brought anything back. Said he was interested, filled out the application. But it doesn't, on the bottom, there's 3 things he needed, so we tried him back, and it's been cricket since then, which is too bad. I was thinking about having you guys finalize, but the reviews, I don't know, Salem left, so we can do that next time, the final page. I have them. The final signature for the reviews of the town administrator, DPW, and the chief.
Yeah, I don't think we really read through those, so I do think we need a little bit of time to
Yeah,
read through them. So
I
if you want to put that
totally-
on the agenda so that we can actually have some time to look at them, because there might be
Would you like
actionable
me to
things
scan
in
them and
there.
send it to you?
That would be even
That
better.
would be awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Hang on, I gotta
There might
list-
be actionable things in there that we need to
Yeah.
look at, so. And I do have that other piece of paper for you. Don't let me leave without it.
Sorry, I'm a list person. If I don't do it, I won't remember. As Janice had finished the legal, we're waiting, the gentleman from Primex is on vacation through tomorrow, so with that had to do with the liability numbers. The other thing is, today I found out, as you guys did tonight, our audited reports are up there. There's just a, it's not a detail, the audited detail is up on the financial, but what you see in the town report is just a summary. So the summaries are in the town report, or they can go from 13 to present, which is not quite 10 years, because we're doing 23s. We can reference that.
Yeah, you can
or
just
have
point them to
go
the website.
Yeah, that's what I figured. But we won't have that answer, so that we could put that out until after the 30th when he comes
Yeah.
back. We took care of the Hopkinton, the damaged solar light at the cemetery that was done and replaced today. It's already been taken care of, it's up.
Nice.
The new one is up. Janice, myself, and Beth met with IT on Friday. I don't know if, Janice, you wanna go into any more detail for now, or we're expecting that answer?
Yeah, the short answer is the first power failure, caused server to go down, in an uncontrolled manner, which caused corruption. And the way I understand it, and we'll get the written answer, so, bear that in mind, that this is my regurgitation of IT, and it's not my expertise, so.
Better than I did.
The folks that had files only on the server and had no local copies, those were the files that got lost. And when the IT provider tried to do a recovery, he didn't do it in the correct steps. So that's what caused us to lose the files. He was extremely accountable and apologetic, and I could tell the man felt truly bad. And he is going to prepare a response for our request, and he said that would be 30 days, and we met with him last Friday, so I expect something the end of May. Okay.
So the generator we have doesn't, take care of that
It was
for-
his servers.
We would need a UPS.
Oh,
on
his
there.
server, okay,
Yeah,
never mind.
yeah, it was his servers,
Got
yeah.
it.
Yeah, so he's gonna look at lots of things. Yeah, that's,
Okay, we signed the 3 cemetery deeds. Cemetery trustee training, she's willing to do it, but she's gonna take off to Britain and not come back until middle to late June. So when she comes back, we will schedule training in July.
okay. Well, if you can think of anything that, we have on hand that we could look at between now and then.
Actually, you know what I do have? I have her PowerPoint presentation
Oh.
in written form from the first time, if you want me to scan it, send that.
Yeah.
It'll give you some idea.
Yeah,
There's some
that's a good
RSAs on
start,
there.
yeah.
Yep. Reappointments you did tonight. There are a few, as I said, we're gonna try to catch those up. As we know, we have Park and, Mark was not, able to come tonight. The deed is finally done for Do So. That happened on Friday, so that's all
Nice.
completed now. The family's done.
It took a
then
long time, so thanks for
Well,
sticking
it's
with that,
just,
too. Yeah.
it was just time, and then he passed away in between, so it
Mhm.
took some time to get that all
Hope the
under.
family's doing well.
Yeah, I think so, for the most part, but, it did take everybody's patience, and I appreciated that. We did get an additional complaint. I added it to the third line down. I put the other complaint on there, which I just got pictures today from, when the fire chief and Katie went out, so I honestly haven't had a chance to take them any further. I believe the other, we haven't even talked about either, is the, H2O1. You guys got pictures with that complaint from the neighbor. Review non-public minutes. I put next week, but we'll talk about that a little further down, is how much, excuse me, you have on the agenda, because you do have a lot of kids to interview, for Park and Rec, so when we put together the tentative agenda for next week, we can talk about that, along with other things. The only thing I have added, I did make a change on the back to the, George Merrill right away, because once reading this statute is you have to give 30 days, but then after 30 days, you have to post the public hearing, which takes an additional 2 weeks. So the 3rd became the 17th, and all those notices have gone out. So
17th of
certified
May.
letter had to go out to anyone that is affected by that discontinuance, as well as the mortgage company. So we had to research the owner and the mortgage company. In the letter, talked about 30 days, and that we would have a potential hearing on the 17th, but they'd get another notice with it finalized. And you guys have to go out that night, if you remember. You have to go out on site, visit the location, come back here and hold a public hearing. We'll keep that rolling.
Okay, so is that May 17 or June 17?
No, June 17th.
Okay.
Because he's not due back until after the 3rd
Okay.
anyway.
I wasn't, the days weren't adding up in my
That's
mind. I was like, how do we get to 60 days, or 30
Yeah,
days
and
plus
then-
2 weeks?
Yeah, so
and be
then I
May
did add the
17?
training on the back,
Okay.
in the July, just trying to clean things up or keep things, because what I like to do at the beginning is kind of go over what we have, and then items to be addressed are still there. That's all.
On
I've
the
not heard-
building inspector, code enforcer, where do we have that posted, the job opening? Where's that posted at?
It's only been posted. I have not used Indeed. I can use Indeed. I know Jason's we've spent a lot of money on Indeed to get 1 or 2 candidates.
Yeah.
I mean, I can gladly put it out there. I can
Does
refresh it
NHMA
on NHMA. I
Yeah.
did take it back down. It's been old, so I'll put the new one back up if you want. If you think Indeed is worthwhile, it costs money.
My opinion, it's not, but I just didn't have good luck with it.
I mean, we can, I can also see if they can put it on the Building Officials Association again. We haven't done that.
Yeah, anywhere. And if there's a link to it, I can post it on LinkedIn as well.
Okay. I don't have a link, I can try to get, I'm not sure how,
But like from our website, if there's a link from our website, I could use that.
okay. We can try to put on the front page, I don't know, that's under news.
Okay.
All right, let me see if we can. So you wanna go with the New Hampshire BFOA, the building official, NHMA? I don't think Primex allows us to put them on anymore. Indeed, we've spent a few $1,000, and we've spent a few $1,000s on Indeed.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's a minimum of like $250, $300 just to send something.
People that had to keep up with their unemployment regulations. They call them in, they weren't really interested.
I can't think of the other free ones. I mean, I could spend money with Union Leader as well, but I don't know how many people you get to see that either. I was trying to circle around the freer ones, just because it is what it is. You saw, we only got $32,000, and the longer we go with overtime,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I'm happy to another suggestion. I just don't think, we tried Indeed the last time with this position, and it didn't bring up what we had thought.
I've tried it with truck drivers.
Jason did have success this last one, but I think we've spent a lot of money to have no success either.
Mm-hmm. Well, we'll see if they can get it up on those two sites, and then maybe that'll give us some
And then I'll
hits in
see
the
if I
next
can get
week.
you that, till we can put the link in.
I mean, it's just me sharing it with my contacts on LinkedIn. It's not really an advertisement per se.
Yeah, I have a LinkedIn
But,
account.
you know,
but I guess I didn't do
sometimes,
it in
you know,
college.
those snowball, you know, people reshared job openings, so.
Okay. I just wish, you know, I don't know, I just wish we had more, but a sampling of one doesn't have a cross sampling. I do not have a answer on, East Road legal, and I don't have an answer on the other legal that you asked me for
Okay.
last week. I'm sorry, I just.
Alright. Any questions for Naomi? Have the elder care office and public guardians, have they been responsive?
Well, I called Elder Care and left a message, she never called me back.
Okay.
She called me, wanted to know what she was doing. I called her, public guardian is nothing they can do. There's nothing they can do for me. I mean,
Right.
they're not, I'm trying to be sensitive here, they're not, she has a guardianship award.
Okay.
And that's why I was trying to work with the elder
Right.
service, because the award is a financial award, or based on that capacity of it, not, I guess you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, I do. Thank you.
I'm trying to not use a name.
On the right to know request, Jack Meany last week, in his public comment, asked for one.
Oh,
you-
I'm sorry, I did send that to him.
Okay.
Jack Meany's, yes, it didn't get on there, thank you, Dave.
It's already done?
It's already done.
Oh, great.
Yeah, I try to make a list of what to do the next morning,
Just wanna make sure.
yes.
Okay. Anything else?
Can you just reach out to other towns, see what success they've had, through advertising for jobs?
Okay. Through my listserv, I can say, where do you advertise it's successful?
Yeah.
I don't feel it's proper to throw it out there, because I don't wanna feel like I'm taking someone else's.
Yeah. No, not specific to the
Yeah.
position.
So where do they advertise, sure?
Ready to move on to correspondence?
Yep.
Anyone have any?
Ray Banks, I reached out to him just to let him know that, 'cause he had asked about the pits and everything. I reached out to him, told him that it was complete. He reached back, he looked, he said thank you.
Oh,
He
good.
did tonight, but he also mentioned then about the trees, so.
He's talking about the ones on East Road, right?
He did send some pictures, and I'll forward those to everyone, and Jason as well.
Okay. Because I think when Jason was here last week, did we not ask him to hold? Because I think you're gonna have to refresh those numbers.
Well, he said that the bids were good for last fall, so.
But those are the ones on Buzzell itself, correct?
There was, no, along the fence, it's my understanding with he owns the abutting property, and they're along the fence, they're all got ribbons, I think, on them to be removed.
So yes, it is on East Road.
So it's
On East
off
Road.
Buzzell. To my understanding, it's
Yeah.
Buzzell. Because you take the left and you go down, and the cemetery's on your right, there's a fence along there, and his house is right next to this cemetery.
Okay. I'm thinking of,
I
the-
think
I'm
they're the
I'm thinking
ones
of a
going-
different
you're
property.
going towards,
You go in Buzzell?
I think that's his driveway, going up the driveway to the house. But that's off, so there's one Pine Grove, and then
I guess
the
I'm
other one.
curious, because I mean, the other one's there. Them big ones on Buzzell Hill, I've said for years they ought to be cut, but some people don't think they should be cut. They're very, very expensive to be cut.
Yeah.
The ones on, you know.
Well, he's talking about the dead ones.
Yeah, they're all, yeah, those ones we've talked about.
Like I said,
when I was
I'll
there.
forward these off to you
Okay,
guys.
thank you. I
Worth
think
getting a
I think
price
it's
for it,
worth
it's just
doing it again, we've got $30,000, as we said, and I think we need to get them out of there if the limbs are gonna come down and things like that, it's our responsibility to do that. I think what Jason and I had a further conversation, and I think there was a suggestion about using his property. I think when they went out, they would have bid it either way, but if he doesn't want them to use their property, that's fine, they're gonna have to.
As an access point.
As an access point, they're gonna have to put that in the bid, though. It's easier probably from his driveway, but if he doesn't want that.
The ones
But I
right
think
up-
it needs to be looked at and scheduled,
Ones right
because,
on Buzzell, they shouldn't need his property anyway.
no, but if you go further up the line, is what I understood, was you could go up by the driveway and use the crane, because they're fairly big, and versus if you go on our side, you're gonna have to go up the road kinda by the shed,
Yeah.
and then you're gonna have to go back around, because there isn't any graves there. You have to go back towards the tree line.
Right.
So I just think we have to kinda take care of it and get it done and schedule somebody before something happens. You know, we talked about a branch to the windshield, what's next? You know,
So,
do you want us to refreshen the quotes then for it? Okay.
what else was?
Get 2 or 3 to make sure.
I think he
And I
had a
think
couple.
he did before, I'm not saying that he wouldn't, but I did a pretty sizable one last winter, and the difference between 1 and 3 was 30
lot,
grand.
yeah.
So, and I know that Jason did, and that he would, I'm just
Mhm.
putting that out there.
I'll talk to Jason tomorrow. I'm here tomorrow, just to let you know. Beth and I swapped.
Very good. Just for this week, or?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
She's got something tomorrow to tend to, so I'm gonna swap with her on Thursday.
Okay. Any other correspondence? Salem shot me a note after he left, saying he meant to bring something up in correspondence related to the March school board meeting. They said that the Sawyer property adjacent to Center Woods, they have a right to refuse as far as purchasing it, and it is flat and already has an old baseball field on it. Would that be an option, and can we discuss this with the school board? So I have no idea what kind of money that entails, but I would think it's probably worth at least gathering some data on.
A long time since I've been out there.
That's where the parties were. The ballpark party was out there. Years ago. Like 44 years ago.
That's where the military has their own.
That's where the military has their, if you see the military training, they go out to that property. When you see the signs at the
Yeah.
middle school, they
Yeah.
lead you down to where that field
You
is.
see all the antique trucks
Yeah.
going through town, that's
Yeah.
where
They
they
go
show 'em
into
for the
there.
weekend.
So they don't just sit there in the parking lot and
No,
sell
no.
parts?
No, they.
Oh,
go
they
down.
actually go in,
There's
okay.
a fence.
There's shows down
Learn
there,
something
old
every
ball
day.
fields down there.
Okay.
Or old pit, yes, I know what it is.
It was a gravel pit, but there was old ball fields down there, like a long time ago. I don't know if anybody maintains it. So the school board offered it to us for first right of refusal?
I don't know if they offered it. He said at the March school board meeting, they discussed the Sawyer property adjacent to Center Woods. They have right of first refusal to purchase.
School does.
It's flat and already has an old baseball field.
Mhm.
So I'm assuming that they only brought it up because somebody either wants to sell it or wants to buy it.
Well, I think it goes into our whole discussion
Yeah,
of the ball
right.
fields, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, something had to come up to,
Privately owned down there?
Yeah, it's,
Oh, I always thought it was part of
no,
school property anyway.
No, it's, it is the Sawyer family. I don't remember which one,
Oh.
but it is the Sawyer family.
That was my confusion on that, I always thought it was part of the
No,
thing.
no, it's the Sawyer family. They must.
yeah. So I think it's probably worth talking to the school board or, I guess, starting
You
there
wanna
and
get
seeing if we
some
need to.
more information from the SAU for us?
Yeah. I mean, data doesn't hurt, right? Okay. Any other correspondence? Okay. All right, so what else do you gentlemen have?
The DES meeting, has anything been set up?
I haven't posted it yet. We did for the 9th, and I'm gonna go on the Zoom and make a link for all you guys, and I'll post it publicly, probably tomorrow live. Cause that's still sitting on my desk, yes. I'm gonna set it up for 2 hours. Hopefully we don't need it.
And the AOT permit information?
I haven't asked
We-
anybody yet.
Okay.
Yeah. I know where the old AOT is, in the old gravel file. So I think it's just a matter of pulling it out and see what I gotta do to refresh it.
Okay, well, I'll bring up, Article 25. I've, a few times told you guys I was starting to gather some data on Article 25. What I'm gonna refer to as a foundational document. It is not complete, but I just want to pass this around so you can see what I'm doing. I've taken a list of all the boards, committees, commissions that we have, looked at the RSAs that govern them, look at the, whether the members are appointed or elected, who they're appointed by, the terms, what are the qualifications for membership in the RSA, term limits in the RSA, does the RSA have any restrictions on any other membership on other boards, et cetera, does it define the number of members, number of alternates, what did NHMA say when we asked them for information about Article 25, what did Primex say when we asked them, and if any of the towns replied to our benchmark request, that's noted over here in additional info. So I'll pass that around so you can just take a look at it. So once I have that finished population, I think that's a good starting point for our discussion on what do we do with Article 25. Because there are, according to NHMA, if the RSA dictates term limits, we can't do anything with it. So that's gonna take a lot of things off the table for discussion. So that's why I wanted to create this before we started talking about it. So, I think there's 3 I'm still waiting on to see if we have any documentation.
Okay.
There's pages of them in there, so.
So I have a question on, do you want us to leave the volunteers to serve up?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
And there's no end date on it, so.
No.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, we still need volunteers for pretty much everything, right? Either full or alternates.
Well, there's some that,
And
as
some
we
that have
mentioned, there's
nothing.
some that no one has even signed up for.
Yeah. wish I had wider
I think
paper.
that, I mean, definitely is a great spot to start, because like you said, ISA say that you can't
Yeah.
do something, or we have to do something, and that takes a lot of arguing.
I didn't wanna put it in really tiny font, so I figured if we're gonna pass it around to look at it, we should be able to read it.
Right,
I can print it in 11 by 17 if you
Not
want.
yet, I mean, just for, you know. And the green ones are the ones that are, I've finished, the red, yellow ones are the ones that still gathering info.
Yeah, I think the format's great,
yeah.
Yeah, like I said, it's just data.
yeah.
Okay, that's all I have. What's the score?
I don't know, I haven't looked.
Okay.
Been hit by behaving.
All right.
Celtics is playing.
Bruins aren't?
Anything else?
Not,
Yeah.
The other night they both.
Anything else
Yeah,
before we
they
go to
both- they both
agenda for
won.
next week?
No.
All right. So we need to circle back next week with the parks folks for their appointment. And then we had said we were gonna do summer hires, at least one round.
Yeah, well, so I have 6:30 to 7:30 because of the number of them. I scheduled them 5 minutes apart. I've got text messages from everybody, so they know they get 5 minutes.
Okay.
So I thought about an hour. Some of them will take less than that. So I have 6:30 for non-public under B, 7:30 to call to order and pledge allegiance. Then I had public comment, and then I had reappointment of committee members, Conservation, Mark Phillips, Park and Rec, Denise and Dave, but I'll get with the chief tomorrow.
Okay.
If the chief can do them, do you want me to have all of Parks and Rec done? Is that what you wanna do? Not just the 2 that are up, you wanna do all of them? Cause that's what I'm gonna
Yes,
find out
please.
tomorrow. Okay, right now I'll just have those, and then Chief Moore had said he wanted to do, he would have all his information, you guys will get at the end of the week, for the Flanders Memorial Road speed limit discussion. So what I'll do is I'll email, Paul Gannon and see if, I don't have emails for all of the others that were here, but, I just wanna give them a heads up, because he said he will have all the statistical data. He's moved it around, so he wanted to come in next week.
Okay. And can we also talk about the town-wide speed limit unless otherwise posted at the same time? I think it makes sense to
I don't think
lump
that's
those
a
two
bad idea.
together.
I don't think it is either, I don't know something, be able to swing this here, cause I have no idea how many places signs need to be put. They
Right,
are
no,
super
yeah,
expensive, so.
yeah, I don't
Just
know
for
either.
instance, last year, it's not really apples to apples, but last year I put up 126 of the green street signs that you see, that are the flags or whatever. It was $12,500. So, and a lot of them went on existing posts and stuff, so it wasn't 126 posts, so, I mean, it's on the default budget, don't think you'd swing it. Now, I don't know where we'd need them. I mean, is it 4 corners of the town, is it one on
Yeah, I was
every
gonna say,
road?
most of them are
I
when you
don't-
enter on a major road and coming into town, so that would be somewhere
I mean,
around
we can have that
6.
discussion while he's here.
Yeah.
You're talking about
Yeah,
speed limits, so
8
we can talk
maybe.
about the townwide
Yeah.
speed limit as well.
Okay. All right, we, last week, didn't finish the discussion on the landfill cap repair engineering with, we'd asked for more documentation on CMA, which Director Fisk gave us on Tuesday morning, so I don't know if we can get that in, it's one of our priority items. But we also need to hire for the summer, so can't
Yeah,
move them.
well, do you wanna put him under, the department head after the chief? CMA landfill cap discussion?
Yeah, that would probably be about all that we could do that night then.
Well, then you have your typical manifest.
Right, I mean, as far as topics.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we
You're
wouldn't,
gonna be an hour behind at the start.
yeah,
I don't know, it's gonna be a
So,
while already.
I do have applications for all the kids. Do you want those scanned or do you not want them scanned? They're, a lot of them are younger kids.
I don't need them, do you?
They're mostly high school, there's a couple, one in, you're gonna miss 3 of them because one's away at DECA.
Yeah.
And then one is sports, and one doesn't come home from college until the following week. So there's 3 of them you won't see until the 13th. So we have non-public under B, 7:30 call to order, public comment, reappointment of committee members. I've got conservation with 1, Denise and Dave for Parks and Rec for 2. Department and committee items, I have Flanders Memorial, speed limit discussion, along with a townwide speed limit discussion, and then CMA landfill cap discussion with Jason, manifest, minutes, administrative report, the rest.
Good?
That'll be plenty, I think.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Anything else? Motion to adjourn? Second? Anyone?
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. 9:20, what, 2:23?
22.
All right, you can flip the switch. I don't know if, cable's still running, so I talked to Doug. I'm gonna get a copy in the morning and put it on YouTube. Yes, go ahead.